Ari Temkin, Mike Fisher here. We're at the Star in Frisco where Mike McCarthy just did his introductory press conference. Before we tell you what we saw and our observations of it, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. That way you're notified every single time a new video is posted. But my impressions, Fish, of McCarthy, he said all the right things. We always expect that out of an introductory press conference. Coaches are going to say the right things. We know he said the right things even before in Peter King's profile of him and talking about using analytics to guide and inform play calling and on and on and on. He talked about evolving and the offense getting stale. I mean, how will you know that because you could say all the right things, but when it gets down to it, it's a guy that's going to go back to his roots. So how will you know that things are different? Does that start right away in terms of off-season work and OTAs and training camp?
Yeah, first of all, of course, his roots aren't bad.
Right.
You know, he lasted 13.
Also, yeah.
Yeah, he lasted.
Won a Super Bowl, 4 NFC Championship games.
And then 13 years in a time and a place where other teams go through 13 coaches in 15 years. He stayed and he established something in Green Bay. I thought it was interesting that Jones just pointed out that the fact that he played for a storied franchise in Green Bay feeds the idea that he can start to maybe understand just a little bit about what this is going to be like. He said himself, this is the only maybe uncomfortable moment for Mike McCarthy up on the stage when he said, "I've never done one of these having you sit at a table."
I don't know to my heads. Ricky Bobby.
This is different here. But at age 56 and somebody who has at least worked to reinvent himself, including the analytics thing, which I think really strikes a chord with a lot of Cowboys fans. Unbeknownst to many, Ari, I know you know this organization spends a fortune on analytics. And then maybe the previous coaching staff didn't use them enough. Now the coaching staff is saying, we get it, we understand it, we got a marriage.
Right. And I mean, Mike McCarthy talked about a 14-person, grouping of video coordinators and AI or whatever it is. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if he implements that and then the importance level that he puts on it in terms of game planning, decision making. Jason Garrett said he didn't do that on a game-by-game basis. He didn't use analytics to inform play calling. Mike McCarthy said that it's important, but that he only has 25 seconds between plays to call it. I mean, how much do you think this will be a gut call? Because it seems like McCarthy's going to be the play caller.
Yeah.
Or do you think that Kellen Moore will really influence him during that 25-second period? Because this stuff does matter, doesn't it, in terms of down, distance, situation, percentages?
The best play caller in the building is Mike McCarthy.
Yes.
He should be the play caller.
Yes.
And I've been told that that's the way they lean. Kellen Moore was 30 years old and running the Dallas Cowboys offense. And I don't know that it ever jumped out at us that, is he overmatched. I don't know that we could ever see that. And by the numbers, they did very well. But he can't do what McCarthy can do, so Kellen Moore can be his assistant, although Joe Philbin, it looks like, is going to be his official assistant head coach. I'll tell you when we're going to see it and when we're going to be satisfied is when they win their first game. When they win their first game, everything's fine. Of course, the Cowboys last year won their first 3, and look where that got us, right back here.
In terms of the defense, Mike Nolan comes into the DC. I mean, what do you think we'll see different defensively? Is this one of those things, Fish, where they're like, here's my personnel, this is the kind of scheme I'm going to run, or is it going to be the opposite, which is this is the scheme we run, let's fit these guys into that scheme?
In the past, the Cowboys and other teams have said, let's go 3-4, let's go 4-3. Right. And then you spend 3 years transitioning to new talent. So take the talent that you have, which on this defense starts with DeMarcus Lawrence. Jim Tonsula, who's going to be the defensive line coach, is an old Pittsburgh ball guy, and he does 4-3 stuff. Mike Nolan has done it all, but he can do 4-3 stuff. So I don't think there's any reason to change the scheme. I think there's reasons to improve the personnel.
One of the emphasis for McCarthy in his career has been in turnovers. He's been really good in the turnover ratio. Like, is that a coachable thing? I mean, we know the Cowboys' current corners aren't great ball hawkers. So, I mean, how do you sort of reconcile this decade of not being able to create turnovers with this guy that has been able to create turnovers?
Yeah, our buddy Bobby Belt on Twitter dug up something that the 49ers in-house, a memo about how we're going to do turnovers, and it's really revealing on one level. On the other level, I'm like,
every team wants that.
Every team does that. So can you emphasize it in coaching more than they do, I suppose? Can you draft and acquire people who you see, he had a lot of interception in college. And if you do that, then do you go away from this traits thing? Our defensive ends have to be tall and long, even if they can't play much. We don't want fat one-technique guys. We want one-technique guys who get up the field like 3 technique guys, but maybe you need a fat guy. Safeties don't matter. maybe you need to change that.
Right.
What if? And cornerbacks have to be long.
Right.
What if there's a small cornerback that leads college football in interceptions? Maybe he should be on your list.
Yeah. Mike Fisher, Ari Temkin, make sure to subscribe to the pages. Search Ari Sports on YouTube. Search Mike Fisher DFW on YouTube. Subscribe and ring the bell. That way you're notified when there's Cowboys breaking news or the latest insights and information.
Ring the bell the way Mike McCarthy rang the bell for Jerry Jones, if you know what I mean.